This presentation is on the design tool MockFlow, which is an online wireframing tool. Before we talk about MockFlow, we have to understand about wireframes. What are wireframes, and why is it important to use them when designing a web page? Wireframes indicate the elements of a page, their relationships, and their relative importance. There are two main functions of wireframes. The first is to make a concrete image of the abstract idea of a page. The second is to document decisions and why those decisions were made during the creative process. Wireframes are a great way to view the basic layout and design of a website you're creating before actually writing all the HTML or CSS code. And there are two different types of wireframes, high fidelity and low fidelity, both of which can be created in MockFlow. Wireframes may seem like an extra step that you just don't have time for, but ultimately they will save you time and money, as they will help you to catch issues early in the process instead of later after you've spent hours coding and programming. Changes later tend to be more costly, more complicated, and more time-consuming. Convinced a wireframe will help you create your website? Well then, if so, this is where MockFlow comes to the rescue. But why use MockFlow instead of some other program to create your wireframes? Well, there are several features of MockFlow that make it very easy to create wireframes. As mentioned before, they can do both low fidelity and high fidelity wireframes. In addition to that, you can create clickable links through your wireframes that allow you to see how the site will function as a whole. You can also collaborate with others, so if you're working on a project with other people, you can use wireframe together jointly to create your wireframes. There are lots of built-in icons which make high-fidelity wireframing much easier. There's also a presentation mode that you can use when you're wanting to demo your site. There's a sitemap visualization. You can drag the different pages around within that sitemap to change the parent-child positions. There are also components for annotating your mockup so that you can enhance the documentation. And there's also a desktop client so that you can download to your computer so that you can work offline instead of having to work online at all times. So how do you use MockFlow? Well, the first thing you want to do is to create or register an account. There are two different types of accounts you can create, the basic and the premium. The basic account is free and allows a pretty good deal of having one mockup and 4 pages within that mockup. But if you're creating a site that needs many more pages or a lot more things that are stored onto the site, then you'll probably need the premium, which is $59 a year or about $4 a month. Once you've registered, then you're going to want to log in, which is going to pull up a page something like this. After you're here, you're going to want to click on that yellow rectangle to create a new document. Now, there's several different types of documents you can create. You can start from scratch and use the components that they have on the site and create the wireframe all on your own, or you can rely on some templates and layouts that they already have preloaded onto the system to give you a place to start from. In addition to doing web pages, they can also do wireframes for various apps, just like Facebook, iPhone apps, Android apps, iPads, mobile apps, and Chrome extensions. The various templates and layouts look something like this. You go to the page of their mockup store where you can view all the different available templates and layouts, see if there's any that look like what you're wanting to start from, and then you can select it and pull it into your page, which is what I've done here. Then you can take this sample template and use the components that are on the right side to create a low-fidelity wireframe that looks something like perhaps this. Now, this low-fidelity wireframe is a great way of seeing what your site is going to look like, what may be the potential faults or errors in it so that you can make some corrections now. Or you could take this and say you want to create something that's even more detailed to show to clientele or to possible potential users to see how they're going to like it. And so you create a high-fidelity wireframe, which might look something like this. By taking the low-fidelity wireframe and adding more detail and information, changing the colors, uploading pictures, that's how you create a high-fidelity wireframe like this. As I mentioned before, they have sitemaps. So this is a sitemap of the wireframe that I created, showing the home page and then the 3 separate pages that underneath it. There's also a URL here that you can use to see the demo of the wireframe that I created and see how that feature works. And that is MockFlow, the online wireframing tool.